Dumelang kaofela. Le kae fellow South Africans from our 9 provinces. You know why I hate this job? You know, I hate this job because it exposes me to the evil of human beings. You know, it's beyond any human imagination that you can expect a democratically elected government to be so inhuman, so evil. Satan, you know what Satan is? You know, listening to all the representatives from the 9 provinces, it actually makes me very angry. And it makes me more determined and more resolute that I have to do this job that I so hate. Because this is a very necessary project. I'm not really prepared to live side by side with Satan. I'm not prepared to live side by side with an ANC government. They can deploy Thabo Mbeki, Matthew Posa, go around. But one thing for sure, you can't lie to the lived experience of a human being. You know, to all of you, including the rape of a 9-year-old child, innocent child, and the police refusing to assist. What kind of society, what kind of human beings are we? You know, it reminded me, God, 2020, I was called in Leidenberg, police station in Mashishing. A policewoman, a group of them, being harassed by the station commander. I went there. And coming back, I reported this matter to IPAD. IPAD ran by a woman. No? IPAD, the head of IPAD today, I don't know if it's still the same, a woman. While we were there in Leidenberg, a captain was sent to come and talk to this lady, not to talk to us. A lady, captain, coming to say to this lady, don't talk to Mashaba. I'm not really surprised that even our women out there, in the police, ANC have made them to accept that rape is acceptable in our nation. Women must accept it. That's why, fellow South Africans, every 11 minutes, a woman is raped in this country because the ANC government has normalized raping. And we are saying, and I'm saying as Herman Mashaba, can speak for myself, I'm not going to accept that the rape is a normal thing to happen to anyone. I'm not prepared to accept it. And I'm not a woman. I am not a woman, and I'm not going to accept that the rape is acceptable. And I'm pleading to you, women in South Africa, please don't accept the rape as being normal. If ANC has normalized the raping, please, let's not accept it. Fellow South Africans, let's not accept that 86 of us must be murdered each day, where genocide is happening in our country, and we are expected to say, no, this is acceptable. This ANC government has unleashed murderers to murder you and I. You know, you and I have got a chance of being murdered in South Africa than anywhere in the world. You've got a chance of being murdered than anywhere else in the world. And now you understand, listening to you, as police reservists. They rob you of your life, 15, 20 years. Just take away 10, 20, 15 years of your life. But they are prepared. They are prepared to give parole to murderers. Lona, when are you going to get your parole, fellow South Africans? Lona, when you're a reservist all over the country, when are they going to give you parole? Haven't you served enough? Haven't you served enough? This is a political matter. And it requires political intervention because they are going to, their strategy, how they were trained by the Russians, is to neutralize anyone who speaks against them. They insult you, they call you names. And one thing they forgot, or there are human beings like Herman Mashaba who will never be sidetracked. You can call me names, you can insult me, but there's no way I'm going to accept this evil that I've listened to the last hour or so. No ways I'm going to accept it. In fact, you know what? The more they're going to insult me, the more resolute and determined I'm going to become. In mobilizing you, South Africans, please stand up. I'm asking you, for the sake of your own future, the future of your children and your grandchildren, I'm giving you a command. You go out there. We've got 25 days left. I don't know how many people who are voters in your family, in your streets, in your community. Go and mobilize them. Go and wake them up to the evil system of the ANC government. Thabo Mbeki cannot really tell us he's not responsible for this mess. Mdlante cannot tell us he's not responsible for this mess. Matthew Posa cannot tell us he's not responsible for this mess. They can go and call them out, but they're not going to change your lives. In fact, these are the very same people who are responsible for where you are. They've robbed you of your lives. ANC belongs to the dustbins of our history. Mandela urbuleletse. Desmond Tutu urbuleletse. Or please, you know, one thing that they forget. You know, you can lie as much as you want. And we're lucky as a country. We had people like Desmond Tutu. And he warned them. He says, I'm telling you, I'm warning you. We are going to pray for your downfall. He warned them. He says, we are going to pray for your downfall. You can think you are a you can have the might or whatever, but at the end of the day, we're going to pray for your downfall. Just look at apartheid government. When they took over power in 1948, they never thought one day they'll really, one day collapse. The Soviet Union, after what they did after the Second World War, where are they today? Now, who can ANC be? We live in a constitutional democracy today. Now, we've got the reservists in the country. I don't know, how many of you are there in the whole country? What? Now, let's say 6,000 of you. How, now, in each one of you, how many family members do you have who are registered to vote? Now, I'm asking you, the 6,000 police reservists. Just your numbers alone will take the ANC government down in 3 weeks' time, in 25 days. So go out there and make sure that your family members cannot really sell your future like the price you've paid. You are a living example of what your family members can believe. Go and look at yourself in a mirror and commit yourself. Or you know what? I'm going to take ANC down. You look at yourself and say, you know what? They thought I'm a nobody. Now, as a person, I'm going to take ANC down and I'm going to bring peaceful transition of South Africa by mobilizing my family members, everyone in the street, to go around, go and make sure that the 27.7 million South Africans who are registered to vote, the ones that you know, including yourself, go out and vote for ActionSA on the 29th of May. And when you go out and vote for ActionSA, You are not going to vote for Mashaba or for Ngobeni. No, you're voting for yourself and the future of your children. You are giving ActionSA an opportunity. You're going to lend them your vote so that they're going to save you on what they promised you. What did ActionSA promise you? We said 2 years already outlined our policies. Now it's up to ActionSA now to deliver. And you know what? Let me tell you, if ActionSA can think go get it clever, you'll catch with them in 2.5 years' time, because local government elections are around the corner. You know, that's the beauty about our current constitution. Because if they think ActionSA or no, we read it clever funzi to la vote over premier, and then also like cancel ma Panyaza utaka mafunzi. No, not 2.5 years' time. Funzi must come knock at your door about your vote for municipal elections. Very important strategic positions, because once, obviously, for us as government, as ActionSA, to really be able to bring justice for South Africans, we've got to run all 3 spheres of government, not only national. We need municipalities in 2026. Very important, because that is where service delivery happens. So I'm just opening your eyes to understand the politics, to serve you, not to really serve ourselves. Rona, as ActionSA, we are just the servants. We are just the messenger to save you. And we can give you that commitment. But one thing for sure is that you are not vulnerable. You are not vulnerable. The power lies in you. For us to remain in government, that means we must save you. We must deliver on your mandate. And if we don't, then we vote down south. So, fellow South Africans, please, we cannot really continue living like this, with these evil people treating us like dead, worse than dead. You know, sometimes you ask yourself, for people like myself at the age of 64, 34 years of my life under apartheid. I was born on the 26th of August, 1959, a year after H.F. Verwoerd, the architect of apartheid, was born. So I lived 34 years of my life under an evil system. But fortunate enough, now beat it at their game. I beat it at their game. You know what happened? Look at this man standing in front of you. On the 26th of August, 1959, when I was born, I don't know where my grandfather got this wisdom. My grandfather was a security guard for the Ga-Rankuwa municipality. Working for the Ga-Rankuwa municipality. For some reason, when I was born, my grandfather happened to have been home. Disregarded the names that my father and my mother gave me, and called me high man. And he went around the community. The entire community of Haramutsi and Amanskara knew of my arrival. And why he called me high man? He says, I want this man to go and change the course of history in our country. You know, I grew up with this weight behind me. That's why when I turned 14, 15, I changed this high man to high man, because my grandfather demanded of me to be a responsible human being and believe in myself. And he said to me, success is not negotiable. Don't rely on someone else. You shoulder the responsibility. At the age of 22, I decided I'm not going to be like my grandfather, because my grandfather used to give himself as an example. He says, don't be like me. Don't be like your father, who decided to die when he was 2 years old, when you were 2 years old. I lost my father when I was 2 years old. I always tell people my mother and my father, for some reason, they just continued making babies, made 6 of us without it first providing a house. ke hotse night throughout my life without having permanent residence because my father died before building my mother's house. The first time in my life I had a permanent residence with a title deed. It was after starting a company called Black Like Me in 1985. I bought a house in Garangwa Unit 8 in 1986. Few months later, I bought my mother almost a similar house in Temba. At least my mother, the last 10 years of her life, she had a house of her own, a 3-bedroom proper house in Temba. So I know what poverty is. I know how to go to school in winter without shoes. I know how to go to school. I know how to go to school the whole day, leave home at 6:30, 6:45, come back at 5:30 without having anything to eat, go to school. I know what poverty is. But I decided, with the wisdom of my grandfather, to say, no, this is not the life. That is why when the call came for me to do something, realizing the evilness of ANC, instead of running away from my country, because I was just not really prepared any longer to just remain an armchair critic. I decided, let me use my privileged position to remove ANC from government, because I'd really come to accept, or ANC is an evil organization. I'd accepted. I accepted more than 20 years ago already. In the first 10 years, that's why I only voted for them twice. Voted for Nelson Mandela, and I'm proud of that decision. And I voted for Thabo Mbeki once, because that's when, during Thabo Mbeki, I realized, oh no, my goodness, Mandela's done such a great job. But this ANC of Thabo Mbeki is not the ANC that I would want my children and my grandchildren to live under. And they are getting worse every day. They think they can fool us. Bababala is a Thabo Mbeki going around, going to tell you that your life under ANC will be better. Do you think your life will be better under Mr. Palapala, Mr. Rangola? He's spending more of his time selling animals and dealing in US dollars. Thabo Mbeki himself, a few months ago, said to us, ANC is a criminal organization, he can't go and campaign. Now, but change its name to be criminal. Because you know why? They are now threatened, because they know once ANC is removed out of government, all hell is going to break loose. The smaller nyana things that Dlamini Abletzing Gazona, they're going to come out. So what Thabo Mbeki and the teams are doing right now is just to really ensure that South Africa becomes another Zimbabwe. That's what they want, so that they can remain in power forever, destroy our criminal justice system, and allow international crime syndicates to destroy our youth. Our children should not really have a future. Give them drugs. Allow international drug syndicates, destroy them. Allow international companies, and not companies, individuals, to come and take businesses from us. You know, this morning, I see one of this, I don't know what kind of logic is this person saying. You know, ActionSA we just launched a project called Spaza for Locals. And we are not unapologetic about it. And someone says, no, Mashaba wants to subject our people to Spazas. We want black industrialists. How do you trade industrialists who don't know how to trade? If you cannot really run a shop in your community, like our people used to run shops during apartheid. Now shops in our communities are run by people who, we don't know who these people are. They deal in cash, our president, take US dollars. They bring money into our country, in and out. And but no, we must not worry about the shops in our communities. What must we run? What businesses must we run in this chaotic environment? Because if you don't have a rule of law. The rule of law is one of the key ingredients of a successful, prosperous nation. I can tell you there's no way you can ever have a successful country, a prosperous country, where you don't have law and order. That is why they're treating you like this. So that South Africa must collapse. When you can't look after your law enforcement agencies, because law enforcement is really a key component of a successful nation. But I'm calling on you. I'm hoping you know what the solution is. The solution is not Herman Mashaba standing here giving a long political policies and so forth. The solution lies with you. Take responsibility for the future of our country by going out. Go and become an activist, and an activist for yourself. Where come the results after the 29th, the ANC must see a show of their life. Like we showed the best ActionSA in 2021. Yes. Are you aware we are the 6th biggest political party in the country? Yes. We only contested 6 municipalities, but we are the 6th biggest political party in the country. That's why we are scared. And now you can imagine with us, with this discussion we've just had. Yes. How many votes can you, each one of you, commit you going to deliver for ActionSA? We're not 20. So the others, you're not committing anything. You're not going to deliver anything. So you're not committing anything, even including yourself. You're not going to vote. Huh? Are you not going to vote? Who's not registered to vote? Or who are saying you're not going to vote? Because you know you come across people who have been exploited. And you find a person says, no, I'm not going to vote. Oh my God, you're not, by not voting, you're actually punishing your grandchildren who are not yet born. So if you're not going to vote, then you must accept the punishment and don't blame God. You must take personal responsibility for not only your failure, the failure of children, your grandchildren who are not yet born. Because those children are going to be brought in a country, Western Zimbabwe or Somalia. So I hope that you take personal responsibility to ensure that if you are registered to vote, go out and vote. But do more than that. Go and get the people around you. Get people around you. And as I want to emphasize, you're not doing it for Herman Mashaba. You're doing it for your grandchildren who are not yet born. Thank you very much for listening to me. I can only commit under oath. I can only commit more. In fact, even in a church environment, I'm committed that given an opportunity to save you, we will do it with distinction. But at the same time, don't just take my word for it. Don't just take my word for it. My grandfather used to teach me, or don't believe what people say. Believe what people do. Listen to people, but ultimately believe what they do. So It doesn't really mean that if I've made this commitment, then you must go and sleep and say Mashaba is going to do the job. No, hold Mashaba accountable. 2026 around the corner. So with all the few words, thank you very much for coming out, sharing your really, you'd really wish this was a movie, a horror movie. Honestly, you know, a country, a democratic government, just till 20, 15 years take of your life. And they're not prepared to give you a parole. Now, when you leave here, just tell yourself, go and sign yourself parole papers, or I'm on parole right now. Go and give yourself, go and sign, when you arrive home, go and sign something and put it somewhere where everyone can see it. Or I'm a free person after so many years of serving South African police service under the ANC government. I'm on parole, I'm a free man, I'm a free woman. Put it somewhere where when people come into your home, they can see it. That I'm a free person. And that freedom, it's coming on the 29th of May. That's when I'm going to, officially this paper is going to become a reality. Thank you so much for listening to me, and let's work together for the future of our country, future of our nation, future of our children and their children, and the future of Africa, and ultimately the entire world. Thank you so much, and all of the best.